Alexandre Pantoja versus Asakura is happening for the flyweight title. Now, who's going to win this fight? Well, before we talk about who's going to win this fight, let's take a look at their latest performances in which Pantoja fought Brandon Royval for a second time, in which Brandon Royval outlanded Pantoja, but Pantoja took control of the fight with his wrestling, grappling, and ground game, and he ended up taking it by decision. After this, Pantoja went on to fight Steve Erceg, in which Pantoja started off great and showed that his striking, wrestling, and grappling was just on a whole different level, and he ended up taking it by decision. And still! Now let's take a look at Asakura's latest performances, in which he fought Yuki Motaya, in which both went back and forth, both had some great shots and kicks until Kai dropped him in round 2. Kai then knocked him out with a nasty knee to the body in round 3. After this, Asakura went on to fight Juan Archuleta, in which Juan dropped him in round 1. But then Kai brought it back, dropped and put a lot of punishment on Juan Archuleta, and the wrestling up and stopped the fight in round 2. Now, this is going to be a very interesting fight, and the UFC signing Asakura could possibly be one of the best decisions that the UFC have made, because if Asakura performs the way he has been performing, then he could possibly be the one to take the belt off Alexandre Pantoja, and he could possibly be the king of the division. So now let's talk about this fight. Well, obviously, Alexandre Pantoja is the current UFC flyweight champion, and he's on a 6-fight winning streak, and he's been pretty active, on top of the fact that he has more high-level experience in the UFC. And if you look at Asakura, well, he's the taller and younger fighter, as he is 30 years old. Meanwhile, Alexandre Pantoja is 34 years old, and he's on a 2-fight winning streak, topping 2 of those opponents, but he hasn't had a fight this year. So now, how's this fight going to play out? Well, I believe it's going to be very interesting to see how Asakura is able to react, because again, he's going to be making his UFC debut, and he's going to be fighting in an octagon rather than a ring, something that he's not used to. So although he's very comfortable when it comes to striking, even then, I still see Alexandre Pantoja outperforming him on the feet, and where I'm 100% sure that Pantoja will dominate is when it comes to grappling, because again, Asakura isn't used to fighting in a cage, so he might not be used to the crazy pace and takedowns coming his way. Meanwhile, Alexandre Pantoja is very comfortable with that, so the best chance that Asakura has at winning this fight is if he looks to keeping the fight on his feet, and he looks to outperform Alexandre Pantoja and possibly knock him out, which I don't see that happening, because I believe that Alexandre Pantoja is still going to be way too much on the feet, especially if he's mixing it up by striking and then taking him down and gaining ground control. So in the end, I got Alexandre Pantoja winning this fight. I just think it's a little too early, and it's going to be way too much for Asakura to be facing the champion on his UFC debut.